Hi there, welcome back to the weird side of YouTube. I'm your host, author DC Knipe, and this is The Reading Storm, the show where I talk about books I'm reading, books I want to read, books I enjoyed reading, books I did not enjoy reading, just all about reading. And today, since it's been quite a while since I made one of these videos because of my extended mental health break, I can annotate a thing here for the video explanation as to why. I thought I could take the time to show you all the books that I have gathered during my break. Alright, first and foremost is Part of Your World, A Twisted Tale by Liz Braswell. I'm still reading it. It's about if Ariel never defeated Ursula. It's kind of dark. There's a lot of death in the first chapter. Basically, Ursula took over Eric's kingdom for some reason. It doesn't really explain why. I haven't gotten to the part. I think they're leading up to explaining why. I haven't gotten to that part yet. She took over Eric's kingdom instead of Atlantica. Ariel is now queen of Atlantica because her sisters thought it would be a good punishment because it was her fault that Triton got cursed into that wriggling little worm thing that Ursula turned him into. And she's also mute. She can't talk, so she learned some kind of Atlantean sign language. It's very interesting. I really like it. I just haven't finished it yet. But I do like it. The next one we have is this Myth and Legends 4-book box set. We have Celtic, Egyptian, Greek, and Roman, and Norse. I got this from Sam's Club, believe it or not. And they're not too thick of books. Each of them has their own cover. Celtic Myths is the one I'm going through now because I'm Celtic. It's very interesting. I put a lot of that, what I'm learning, into my fairy tales project that I'm writing now. Then we have Egyptian, which I knew a lot about already because when I was pagan, I followed goddess Isis. We also have Greek and Roman myths, and I really only knew the popular ones like Medusa and Hercules and stuff like that. But I can't wait to get into that. And we also have Norse myths, which I don't know anything about. My partner does because he used to fancy himself a Viking back when we were both pagan. Thank God that's over. But we're atheists now, by the way. I'm really interested in myths and legends and mythology. It's all fairy tales to me, really. I know they're very different things, but it's all fairy tales to me. Next, we have, speaking of fairy tales, Grimm's Complete Fairy Tales. You can't really see it, but there's evil trees on this cover, like the ones from Snow White. Look at this owl. This owl is judging you. And, it's not illustrated, unfortunately, but it's very thick and huge, and I'm very excited to read these before I start writing my version of the fairy tales. I know the fairy tales, a lot of these I don't know, but I know the ones that I'm working on vaguely, and I know the dark versions vaguely, but I'm glad to actually, learn them before I take my spin on them completely. You know what I mean? So there's that. And another fairy tale. Jonathan got me 2 by accident. This is The Complete Hans Christian Andersen Fairy Tales. It was from a used bookstore. It is not illustrated, but it's complete, which I very much enjoy. And look at that, I flipped right to The Little Mermaid, didn't even realize it. Apparently it is illustrated, just not as illustrated as one would think for fairy tales. Not like this one, which he got for me as well from the same used bookstore. It is an illustrated treasury of Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tales. And this comes with a select few. Thumbelina, the Princess and the Pea, the Snow Queen, the Brave Tin Soldier, the Emperor's New Suit, the Little Match Girl, the Little Mermaid, and the Christmas Tree. And they're all illustrated. And I might make videos reading these. I'm probably going to make videos reading these because these are the illustrated versions and they're, more dynamic for the camera. But We also have this World of Warcraft, Folk and Fairy Tales of Azeroth. I was very excited about this because, you know, I love World of Warcraft. I have my own guild. We are on Horde, Area 52. We are called Alphabet Mafia. Join our Discord and come raid with us. We need the help. But yeah, this is illustrated as well, and it's quite gorgeous, actually. Very much. It's a big book. It's like a fairy tale book, like a children's book, which is kind of ironic because I don't think any children actually play World of Warcraft. Don't kids like, what is that fucking game called? Fortnite? Fortnite and Overwatch is what I think kids today like. Like, things like Zelda is for millennials, and World of Warcraft is for millennials who actually grew up with this stuff. At least that's how it is in my head. Speaking of Zelda, we have Hyrule Historia. I'm trying to get all these big books. There's also an encyclopedia and a red one. The encyclopedia is blue. I don't know what the red one is. Art and Artifacts, maybe? But this is Hyrule Historia, which is like a complete history of Hyrule, including like concept art that never made it to games. Very cool insight into the games. And I love Zelda and always have and probably always will. This was made before Breath of the Wild, so nothing from Breath of the Wild is in it though. I believe they made one specifically for Breath of the Wild called Creating a Champion. I don't know if that's like this, or if it's just like a behind the scenes of like how they came up with the champions, or if it's like a detailed history of that version of Hyrule. Oh well, I have to look into it because I actually do want that book. These two were gifts, Christmas gifts from my sister. One is called Steal Like an Artist. I've read this a couple times because it's very interesting. Let me go over the chapters with you. Steal like an artist. Don't wait until you know what you are to get started. Write the book you want to read. Use your hands. Side projects and hobbies are important. The secret, do good work and share it with people. Geography is no longer our master. Be nice, the world is a small town. Be boring, it's the only way to get work done. And creativity is subtraction. I don't remember any of this though. I read it, she gave me this a couple years ago and I read it a couple times, but I don't remember it. Maybe I should read it like every year or something. Steal like an artist. That's about all there is to it. When you look at the world this way, you stop worrying about what's good and what's bad. There's only stuff worth stealing and stuff that's not worth stealing. Everything is up for grabs. If you don't find something worth stealing today, you might find it worth stealing tomorrow or a month or a year from now. The only art I'll ever study is stuff that I can steal from. David Bowie. Nothing is original. The writer Jonathan Letherne has said that when people call something original, 9 out of 10 times they just don't know the references of the original sources involved. What a good artist understands is that nothing comes from nowhere. All creative work builds on what came before. Nothing is completely original. It's right there in the Bible. There is nothing new under the sun. That's a pretty quote. But, yeah, I completely agree with that. That's why I just went all in and started writing my own versions of fairy tales, because at this point, no matter what you do, it's always going to be similar to someone else's work, whether that's art or writing or movies or literally anything, any kind of art. If you think about it, we've been making art since the beginning of time. There's going to be things that are similar. So like, why beat yourself up over it? The next my sister gave me is How to Not Write a Screenplay. She read my novel Dream and I guess thought that it would be a good movie, so she got me this book. I haven't read it yet because screenplays are not my thing, but I'm keeping it because maybe one day they will be. And I believe that is all the books I have for you today. It's been a year and a half and I've only gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 books. Well, that's not bad. I've read most of them. That's a lie. I've read half of one. I've read half of one. In a year and a half, I've read half of one in 10 books. Okay. Well, there's no accounting for mental health. When you're mentally unwell, the last thing you want to do is read. But I can't wait to start reading these books, especially the fairy tales. I'm definitely going to read some of them on YouTube for you to get you guys ready for my versions of the fairy tales and to get me ready for writing those versions of the fairy tales, because I really want a good understanding of the source material before I dive into it. Like, I know the basics and the gist of all the fairy tales. Like, I know the gist of Merlin and King Arthur and his knights, but only because I've watched the movies based around him, which are literally just adaptations, which means they are abridged and changed. And the only books I've ever technically read about Arthur and Merlin are children's books when I was little. So I have ordered a copy of The Death of Arthur. I know it's French and I can't pronounce it. I'm not going to try. La Mort d'Arthur. I did try, I lied. But I have ordered a copy of that, and I'm going to try to read it. It's probably in, like, old school English, which is probably going to be difficult to read. But I am going to slug through it and rewrite the first draft of my prologue for fairy tales so that I can get, you know, a good understanding for the characters and the universe and everything. It's going to be different. It is going to be a reimagining because it's going to be my version, and I have to fit all of the fairy tale characters and legendary characters and mythology characters into one world and have them interact with each other. So it is going to be different, and there are going to be slight changes, but like King Arthur's not going to be a villain, and Merlin's not going to be like, you know, a slut that's fucking random people like a bard or something. It's not going to be like that. But that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and leave a comment telling me if you want me to read a book on live or on a video, or if you just want me to review them after I'm done reading them. I'm open to all suggestions. But you can find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter, and they're all under the same username, which is @AuthorDCKnipe. And please subscribe, like this video if you liked it, comment. I think I already went over all that, but I love you guys, and I'll see you guys later.